All right.
Can you guys hear me?
Hi, Susan.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yes, I
Okay.
was busy, talking myself. I didn't have time to, you know, say hello to everybody.
Talking to herself.
I was trying to tell a story that I of a fuck up I did, but it all worked out. It was okay. So, thanks you guys for being here. And to four people that we have viewing or watching. Oh my gosh, why is Cherie not here? Because she's on her phone. The
She'll
girl
get
has a
in.
brand new, amazing computer, Cherie. Why are you not here?
She'll jump in.
I know.
We had 7 people and they went away.
No, come back. Well,
Come back,
Jesus.
people.
Come back, come back. We maintained between 14 and 16 through the entire premiere, though. So,
Yep.
Oh, we're live. Okay. I thought we were backstage still. Okay.
no, we're live.
No, you're still backstage. No, you're still backstage.
No, we're not. Oh,
I
Jack.
know.
Thanks, Jack.
I'm like, wait, what?
Hey, let's see if Kay will make an ass of
Um,
herself some more. She might do it.
Stop.
More fun this way. Come
I
on,
know
guys.
for you. All right.
Okay, so
Here we
we're
are.
live. We're going to figure out how this live thing after the premiere thing goes. I got to make the premiere shorter if I want people to come to a live afterwards, though. Just oh.
Yeah, because that actually wasn't following Jeff Jones' thing because he makes his 1 hour. So that'd make us have to have like 6 episodes of Gardner.
Yeah, yeah, and that's just yeah. So
I mean, not that we couldn't do that, but that's a lot.
oh, that's okay, Liam. I understand. We're discussing future plans now, so we'll get a better. Oh, what am I doing? We'll get a better system going for next time. But thank you so much for hanging out and watching the entire trial today with what's his weird face? Oh, Murdaugh, Alec, as
Alec,
Alec, Alec. And then coming and popping over and supporting our channel too. I really do appreciate it. It means a lot.
it said the
So
24th. What's Shaz saying? Wait. Oh, it also said 2014 on your thing.
on my on my thing. What?
Your thumbnail
Oh, did
thing
it?
for YouTube, it said. I thought, oh my gosh, she was tired when she made that, I guess.
Yeah. And I also have 2014 on the brain because why wouldn't I?
That's right.
So, what does anybody on the panel have anything that they want to, uh, discuss about what we went over in the premiere?
Well, I think we should discuss, Kim Davis. I mean, she just what it happened several times during that interview. She just led Adaira all over the place. She led her so bad.
Yeah, I agree.
When you start looking at that sort of thing with each of the accusers and you see that how many times these detectives suggest the things, oh, because you were afraid, like, why didn't you report it? Oh, because you were afraid. Oh, because you didn't think that anyone would believe you because it was a police officer.
Yep.
And then they go around saying the women said the same thing. Oh yeah, did the women say the same thing, or did you guys say the same thing?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
exactly. We did get a few. Kay thought we weren't live and that people were leaving, and I think it seems like a couple did. But there are 11 of you here now. So I'm going to quickly say hello to everybody that came from that 2.5 hour premiere to over here to this live discussion. I just feel like I do so much better live. Maybe not. Maybe it doesn't matter. But so Alice is on the panel. I have Jack on the panel and I don't recall, or Cherie, Inexplicable Susan, and Katie did it. Kay, you switched your freaking screen name.
What now? What I do?
You switched your screen name in the middle of in the middle of the premiere.
I
was
did?
Like, yes.
Oh, I did. I was on my phone. Oh, okay. I was on my phone and then I came and got on my computer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, because I can't remember now what the situation was, but you said something and I was like, wait, and then I was doubting myself. I was like, what the hell did happen? I don't know what I
There's
just
the real
did.
girl right there. The real girl popped on.
Yeah. I was like a little weirded out, but that's why I said, you guys can't be switching your screen names on me in the middle of a stream.
Oh, I didn't know it was me.
Well, I try not to put people on blast if I can help it, but here we are now. So anyway, so I just want to say hi though really quickly too. And Clockwork Rex, I believe I've seen you in Foul Play. Reading with the Crew, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure my panel members will tell me. But I don't really know if I know you very well, and so I appreciate you coming over here and supporting us on my channel. I really means a lot to us. TJ is here lurking, and Shaz, and Catnit, and Liam said he was popping in for a few minutes, but he's going to go to bed because he's been up watching Alec all day. So if I missed anybody, I'm really sorry, but thanks for being here. And if you have any questions or comments in the chat, that you'd like to, put for us to discuss or answer or whatever, just let us know. Otherwise, we're just going to sit up here and talk about what we want to talk about all of it. So you might as well ask your questions or your comments. So, anyway.
So is there another accuser who says that Daniel pulled their pants down? I don't think there is.
No, not that
Adaira says he
Daniel
pulled their pants down.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of one other accuser who says that.
Mm-mm.
They all say he told me to pull my pants down.
Yeah,
So
no.
that's interesting.
Adaira, I think, is the only one that said that.
I wonder why they didn't get her to correct that by the time trial rolled around. Or did they?
Well, let me tell you,
did.
her transcripts at the trial are batshit crazy. So
I guess we'll see that. Are we going to do transcripts next
I might hope to do. Yeah, I'd love to start with preliminary and trial next week for sure. Transcripts. I will tell you that just doing that. Well, we'll start. I don't really know how to do it because just doing that is going to be a lot because her story is so big, and so because we also want to cover Amanda Gates, her mom, when we talk about her case, because her mom was pretty big part. She got up on the stand under oath and lied, and so that I think will be really interesting. From having read the police report. Where'd Alice go? From having read the police report and then seeing things. I don't know if she's actually in the preliminary hearing or not, Amanda. But then to see what she says in trial is very, very different from the way she acts or seems to act in the police report. And I hope you're coming back, Alice. Seems to act in the police report.
She's not in the preliminary hearing.
And I hope you're coming back.
Okay. Is someone's YouTube not muted? Is that maybe it's me?
No, it was somebody else. I won't put them on blast, but it was Cherie.
Cherie.
Tell Rose I said
totally
hi.
Expected it to be me.
Hey, Under Your Scars, welcome. It's great to see you. Thank you for being here.
Okay, so we should pick out Shaz. We should pick out for Shaz how many times Scott Adams actually addressed, or how he addressed the fact about pulling it out. Because it's really interesting that only the underwear were an exhibit, and I'm not even sure how they were used. I think it was the second to the last day of trial that they're in the exhibit list.
Right.
Exhibit number 4
Oh,
of 4 exhibits for
oh,
the
interesting.
defense, which is
Uh-oh.
interesting. I guess they used all of the state's exhibits since there were 9 million.
Yeah, no kidding. They didn't need to add any more to it.
But that's still weird.
Yeah. We'll definitely start with transcripts this next week. So it's just a lot. We just have a lot of, a lot of stuff to put together. It's just her story is just so loud, so long, and there are so many lies and inconsistencies in hers that it's, I wonder if Susan realizes she's not here. I guess she probably does. Okay. Oh, thank you, Cherie. Oh, well, I heard you. I just, at first, I wasn't sure. I was like, what is happening right now? Yeah. Cherie was saying that, Adaira's mom was not in the preliminary. We'll figure it out. We'll have a good show for you next week. So, and the easiest way to do it, I guess, is just to start with the beginning of we'll just have to go through all of her preliminary stuff and then get the trial stuff I don't think we're going to do that as a premiere. I don't think that's going to be a good idea.
No.
Yeah, we'll definitely do it as a regular live next week when we cover the transcripts. Otherwise, yeah. What the back? Hey, dude, how are you? It's great to see you. Thank you for stopping in. I appreciate you being here. I just met What the Beck in the last couple of days. Well, I think maybe during the Depp Heard trial, but maybe a different name. But in Claire's channel, watching the trial the last few days. So
I watched that over there.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I just didn't comment.
Oh, she's probably watching the chat going, oh my God, does Rhonda ever shut up? No, I don't. You know that about me. I always have stuff to say. They're a nice group of people over there, though. I really enjoy going to that chat and watching her. Yeah, Susan, I don't know what happened. Hopefully you can come back. Here, darn it. So we'll definitely, we're going to get into a lot more. We're going to see a lot more of Adaira's personality, because in that interview that I played with Kim Davis, there's not really, like I said, you can't really hear her. And of course she was blurred out because at the time of that interview, she was a minor. So we'll get to see a little more personality once, because by the time of trial and preliminary, if I'm not mistaken, I'll have to double check. But I think she may have had turned 18 by then. So,
Cherie, when's her birthday?
Cherie.
January 9th, I think.
Oh,
so she turned. Oh, so she was 17 and 14. So she was 18 by trial.
By the time of trial, she was 18. Yep, exactly. So, Clockwork Rex, were you? Oh, sorry. Did I see you in Claire's chat? Is that where I seen your name? Yes. I'm so sorry. I met new people in Claire's chat, and that's where Clockwork Rex was from Claire's chat. So I apologize, but you should still come to the Foul Play ones because they're pretty cool too. So,
Susan says that it says she's backstage, but I don't see her.
She's not backstage. Let me kick her from the studio. I've never done that before. Oh no. Okay. All right. I kicked you out, Susan, and so try to log back in. And Cherie's also gone. Anyway,
It kicked me out, Rhonda.
did it?
Yeah. I don't know what it was. I was on the YouTube channel and I was typing in chat, and then because I'm my volume's up on the StreamYard, but it's down on the YouTube, so that we're no echoing. And 1 minute you were talking, and then you just went silent, and I went, "Well, what the hell was happening?" And I realised that I'd been kicked out of StreamYard and then had to come back in. And so unless it's done the same with Susan somehow and just kicked her out, because that's what it did with me.
I'm really sorry. I don't know why that's happening. We have had really horrible weather, but it's not snowing right now.
Yeah, let me tell you. I don't really want to talk about the weather.
Yeah, try again, Susan. I don't know. I kicked you out, so you should be able to take the. Let me just get you another link.
And she didn't. She said she didn't enjoy it. I just need to mute, and not talk tonight. I'm really being. I got a lot of.
Who didn't enjoy
You know,
She did not enjoy it. He said.
Is so cheeky tonight, isn't he?
He is. He muted.
I'm just full of it or something. I don't know.
He
unmutes. It must be the weather.
Quickly as he mutes. He unmutes as quickly as he mutes.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot shut him up.
Just long enough to. Under your scars, you got kicked out. You did not. Okay, now you guys are just fucking with me.
No, I think you seriously kicked Cherie out because I don't think Susan was even in here. But anyway.
I haven't kicked anybody out. No, Cherie. Oh God. Listen, y'all have the. Oh gosh, I'll give everybody a new link. Try again. Anyway,
we're Under the Scars got kicked out too.
I know, but Under Your Scars is just fucking with me right now, so that's okay.
I
know. I need to be messed with occasionally, but not tonight. No, I'm just teasing.
Oh, really?
No, but not by you. Listen, you don't get to have a vote in this because you mess with me all the time.
I was gonna say, I don't think that it really included me, did it?
No.
Hey, there's Sister Susan. Now we just need, now that we just need Cherie. Come on, Cherie.
I sent her a new link as well.
Get that new computer fired up.
I know, right?
Right.
So, so I'm just wondering if anybody in the chat has any questions or anything that you picked up that we talked about that was an inconsistency or that had you scratching your head or,
I can tell you, and I made comment. I mean, I know you asked somebody in the live chat, but I'll make this comment. Maybe it'll prompt some more conversation. But you listen to Adaira Gardner talk about getting raped, and she, like I said in the chat, she talked about it like she went to the corner store and got a gallon of milk.
Yeah.
I went down and I just got some milk, and this guy pulled my pants down, and he just did this and he did that, and I went on back home, and nothing. It's like there's no emotion at all.
Yeah. No, I agree. Well, I think that she was still trying to work on a story, possibly. I don't know. But
I just remember being 17, and of course I wasn't a girl. I promise you that. But even as a dude, hey, even as a dude, I'm telling you, you get some kind of weird shit like that going on, you're not going to be monotone about it.
No. I mean, I can believe that she did get stopped by Daniel. she did go home and say to her mum, "Oh my God, I've just been stalked by a cute cop." I can believe that. She's 17-year-old. And as I've said before, Daniel is a handsome looking man. You know, no matter what age he was at that time, he was a handsome looking man with his build and everything like that. And a young 17-year-old, being a cop or not, would look at him that way, you know? So I can believe that she did go home and say to her mum, "I've just been stalked by a cute cop." Now, if she'd been raped by that cop, there is no way in hell she's going home to her mum and saying, "Oh, I've been, you know, I've just been stalked by a cute cop," and not mention about being assaulted. I just don't believe that. She's young. She's 17. She's just went through this horrible ordeal. No matter whether it is a cop or anybody, she would have told somebody that night, whether it be the pal that she told or her mum or whatever. She would have told somebody.
Oh, sorry, Beck, if you didn't want that shown on the screen, I apologize. But it's in the chat. And I'm sorry that happened to you. Yeah, the thing is, it's so frustrating because I've worked with survivors, I've known survivors, I've been in treatment with survivors, I am a survivor, and every single one of us, every single one will behave completely differently, but in a lot of ways behave the same in some aspects. So it's so hard, but I'm not saying that you're wrong, Jack. She just sounded very I don't know, blasé about it, and
Exactly.
maybe
That's exactly right.
Maybe that was a defense mechanism. Who knows? I I I don't. I know that I feel very much like I know she was lying, but I feel like she was also being led by Kim. I mean, I know she was lying because I know it didn't happen, so I know that. But I feel like her and Kay talked about during the premiere. Kay talked about a ride from Muskogee, Oklahoma back to Oklahoma City. I think that is brought up, if not in the preliminary, it certainly comes up in the trial, and but it never gets talked about in this interview or anywhere in the police report. Well, that's unfortunate because on that, what Kay says, so like a 2 or 2.5 hour drive from Muskogee to OKC. Is that right?
2.5 hours, yeah.
2.5 hours. We have no idea what we can speculate for sure what was talked about, because damn good and well they didn't sit on that ride in silence. I believe fully that Kim Davis already had an AVL in her hand and knew exactly when the time was, when the date was, when Adaira was when Adaira and the other two were stopped by Daniel. I believe she knew that already and was trying to, like you said, Jack, trying to lead her to say the things that she needed her to say. But I think there was some rehearsing that was done in that 2.5 hour drive from Muskogee. There had to be.
Well, like many of the conversations with family members while they're trying to locate many of these accusers, where they tell the family member, we know we got a tip that your daughter was assaulted by an Oklahoma City police officer and he's doing different things to women, and and they give them all the information that they need. I can imagine Kim Davis telling Adaira, here's what we think happened to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I agree she had the AVL. And the other thing I wanted to point out is, so we have to remember that Daniel takes Adaira home that night, but what has happened that morning?
Yes.
What time was that? 10:30 in the morning when her mom
10,
finds her on Shields, which is
10,
a
10:50.
prostitution area
Yeah,
where
10:50 in the morning.
prostitution commonly happens in that area where, so her mom knew where to go find her, I guess. But so she already smacked the shit out of her mom and broke her mom's phone that morning, and her mom files a police report on her. So when she gets home that night, is she just messing with her mom, just antagonizing her, telling her, I met a hot cop and we're going to go out on dates, just trying to get under her mom's skin, maybe?
Yeah, that's so possible.
I don't know. But that whole trip, that whole drive bringing her back from Muskogee, although that's a 2.5 hour drive, Kim Davis testified that they stopped several times for food for Adaira because she was just starving.
Starving.
Which, give me a break. Come on. She was at her dad's house. I can't, I imagine her dad feeds her.
Yeah.
Imagine he has food in the house. That was just, maybe that's just an excuse for why it took longer. Why they wanted to spend more time with her. And I don't know. As Rocky would say, build rapport.
Build rapport. Oh, God. He doesn't even know how to spell that or what it means, idiot. There is not a case for the Innocence Project under your scars because what little bit of from what I understand, what little bit of DNA there was not something that they couldn't test it without using up whatever might have been left. Kay would know better about that, but I believe that's what they couldn't test what little bit might have been left without destroying the rest of it.
We haven't, as far as the Innocence Project goes, Daniel hasn't applied to the Innocence Project
Or
yet.
Daniel probably hasn't applied to the Innocence Project.
No, he hasn't. He will, but that is a great point that you make. Although there is some DNA left, it's I believe the calculation that was made when Daniel requested things for the civil trial, the determination that was made by an analyst was that there would be enough for Daniel to be able to test and the state to be able to test again. So, but unless they do testing on his pants and do some further testing, what are they going to find? We've got a mixture in the DNA. We know that tests improve as time goes along, and this has been 7 years. So, what's better? What are we going to find? What's going to be exculpatory for him?
Yeah.
But he will submit an application to the Innocence Project, and hopefully they'll help. What clone? What is? Or did I see that?
I thought they
do
can clone or
now.
now MVAC.
Yeah, we talked about MVAC, and I know that I think in one of his requests there was a request to do MVAC testing. I feel like that was something for the civil trial, so all of that stuff is going to have to be talked about again in post-conviction.
Right.
Anyway,
I don't. I don't know about the cloning of the DNA.
I don't
I-
either.
I don't know. if
Tell
there's
us
enough.
more.
Sorry.
I think what that is, they can make a larger sample out of what they
Yeah,
have.
PCR.
Oh,
Can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you.
can't
Yeah,
hear you.
please.
Yeah, we were just ignoring you, Susan.
We forget you're here because you keep falling out. No,
Remember the other time when we said we couldn't hear you? We could really hear you, but we were all just pretending like we couldn't.
Oh,
No,
that's
I'm
harsh.
kidding. Sorry. I think I'm funny. Okay. I'm not that funny.
She's teasing.
Yeah,
Susan.
it's called PCR.
PCR. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Doctor give you that's the acronym. There's a longer
Yeah, it's
polymer cheese chain reaction.
Yeah.
Chain
We need-
reaction.
We
Yeah.
need Silkman to jump in here and make
I
this
know.
interesting.
I'm going to get him
Yeah.
on here for when we go, because here's the other thing about Adaira's case. We're going to have to do extensive, it's going to have to be an entire part all to itself discussing the DNA. And Dr. Silkman, I will do my best to get him on here to talk with us about that.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Susan, please repeat what you said that we didn't hear all of. You're muted though. Oh.
I was just kidding, Susan. Come back.
Oh gosh, Susan.
I promise I won't be a smart ass anymore. Okay.
Catnit is amazing as always and has found some information about PCR. So she's put it in the chat if anybody's interested in seeing what.
Hey, I was close. Polymerase chain reaction.
Okay. Yeah, well, at least you can say it.
Polymerase.
Polymerase chain reaction.
That's right.
Okay, good. Awesome. Oh, Colette, hi. Sharon, hello. Great to see you. Better late than never. And Colette says polymerase chain reaction. Good job. You guys are good. I hear all these words, but I can't pronounce most of them.
Yeah, that's where they'll take a piece of, or especially if there's a small sample of DNA, they take it and they can use that to make a bunch more. Basically clone it. Yeah.
Okay. That's what that is about.
Under your scars says, let me butcher this. Is it Bardol or Bardoli? Said she does free consult. What does she do with PCR, or what do you mean under your
No,
scars?
she's the MVAC. I think she's meaning she does the MVAC.
Oh, okay.
And she does free consultations.
Gotcha.
Under your scars had mentioned it in the chat.
Okay, excellent.
The other night there in foul play. And I think Doc is actually maybe going to try and get in touch with her. I don't bank me on that. I'm not 100% sure, but I think he says he was going to look into it.
Actually, I think he sent a message.
Cool.
Well, that would be fabulous.
You would.
Yeah. Well, and we kind of half-heartedly joked about buying our own MVAC a few weeks ago on Reading with the Crew. So,
Susan, are you back? Can you hear me now?
Can you hear us, Susan? She's muted.
She's muted. No, she's muted. Darn it.
Yeah, I know.
I thought she was unmuted when I first looked at that.
No, she's unmuted. I mean, she's muted. Good Lord.
You should play the Hot Cop audio
Okay, I
clip.
was going to ask if you wanted me to. Okay,
Please.
so yeah, I'm going to try to see if. Let's see. I should be able to just. Okay. Hopefully this will work. I know it didn't before, but I'll try. And if it doesn't, then I think I know another way. Okay, let's see how it goes.
Can't hear it. Oh,
How long was your daughter a runaway? Oh, she does it all the time. That day it was only, that time it was only about 8-9 hours. Because I reported that morning with some other police officers on the south side of Oklahoma City. And then when I came home that night off work, she was standing there at the house, at my house.
Okay, and you didn't see anybody bring her home?
No, I did not.
Okay, what did your daughter tell you?
She said, I met this really hot cop. He told me I had a couple warrants, but he said, don't worry about it. Give me his number, and we're going to go out on dates. She was really nice, and he was sexy, and he's going to call on me. I just looked at her like she was crazy.
I think she was trying to get under her mom's skin.
Yeah, so do I.
I think so too.
17-year-old.
How long was your daughter a
Oh,
runaway?
whoops. Hello.
Oh, she does it all the
Oh, she does it all the time. So was everybody in the chat able to hear that?
Oh yeah, I could hear it.
Well, you're not in the chat.
If we can hear it, they can hear it.
Okay.
Captain Jack.
Promise. I would.
Okay.
I wouldn't lie to you.
Sharon says just talking shit to mom. Yeah, I agree. That makes perfect sense, because she was certainly and her mom listened to her. Now remember the sound of her mom's voice, and I'll play it for you again at some other point in a future live. But her mom, she does it all the time. Yeah. And then she said at the very end, I just think she sounds crazy, or whatever she said.
And I just looked at her like she's crazy.
Like she's crazy. Yeah. So
She could have really thought that he was hot, but the date part, and all that was made up, I'm sure.
yes. Yeah. Probably, and I agree. And it wasn't something that I had thought of before, that she was, possibly just trying to get under her mom's, skin. But that makes perfect sense.
If she really did think he was hot, she's not going to tell that to Kim Davis.
Mm-hmm.
Which, she made a point to let her know that he was in fact not hot.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because when I was doing the subtitles for that, I had to wear headphones, noise canceling headphones, to actually hear what she was saying. And she was like, no, he's not hot. And I was like,
No.
okay. She'll being all snarky and snotty, and then here's Alice, here's wait till he gets out of prison so she can come to America.
Here, I've told you, Daniel is a handsome looking man. He is. And I don't believe for a minute that young lassie didn't think he was hot. I really don't. Because when I first started on this case, I was like, hello, who are you? So, and I'm probably old enough to be. How old's Daniel?
Yeah.
He's 20s, late 20s, I think.
Right,
He's
so I'm old
27
enough
at
to
this point.
Yeah, 27.
Yeah, so I'm old enough to be his mum. My son's
Right.
older than him. So I'm old enough to be his mum. But if I was 20 years younger, yes, Daniel is the type of man that I would probably want to have a quickie with. And I'm not holding back. I'm being totally honest. I will put it there. I would gladly have a quickie with Daniel in the back of the car. His Polish motor with sirens gone and everything, if that was the case. So
Alice. Okay.
I believe utterly that young lassie, when Daniel stopped him, she went, hello, just like I did. And then went home and says to her mum, yeah, I got stopped by a hot cop. And then her and her mum were setting to, and the rest of what she says to her mum was to wind her mum up because her mum dated a Polish. You know what I mean? But when it comes to Kim Davis, you're right. She's not going to sit there and say, oh, I thought he was hot, but I'm trying to get him done for raping me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And the only reason why they went after her, I think, is because of her age at the time, because she was a minor. So that makes it sound even worse, because she was a minor.
Yeah. Well, okay. So just like with Janie Liggins, it is a fact that he did stop her twice on that day. And according to the state, it is a fact that her DNA was found on his pants, but
He searched her twice.
he searched her
so
twice.
He would have had twice the opportunity to have her skin cells all over his hands and transfer them when he went to the bathroom.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just you guys are cracking me up in the chat. All us horny old ladies out here.
You guys, I am not touching that with a 10-foot pole, folks.
Sorry, Kate.
I'm not old.
Sorry.
Oh yeah,
No.
and by the way, Cherie is not old.
Oh, and by the way, she's a day older than I am.
Well, I mean,
I'm not old either. None of us are old. Come on. Even Jack isn't old.
TJ says, did she say that, or did her mom just say she said that? I believe she said that because
I think she said it.
When Daniel, whatever, it would be interesting to see how many times he drove by her house waiting to see for her mom's car to be home. We're not going to get that information.
No.
They're not going to show us that he kept driving by her house until he called her mom, which I've never discussed that with him. But the mom cussed him out and hung up on him before he even had a chance to say, hey, I stopped your daughter this afternoon. She was hanging out with a couple people, who she said that the guy was trying to hoe him out. I believe her mom knew that she was prostituting to get money for drugs already, or she wouldn't have known where to go track her down that morning.
Right.
So, yeah, I believe that she said that to her mom. Otherwise, her mom wouldn't have hung up on Daniel when he called.
Yeah.
She would have had no reason to hang up on him and call him a pervert, which is what she did.
Well, actually, what she said was fucking pervert, but I'm not going to,
Well, he says that, I didn't even get a chance to tell her what was going on with her daughter because she cussed me out and hung up on me.
Yeah. I am going to I'm going to let Kay try to address under your scars question, why so many accusers?
Why so many accusers? So how the case started was because Daniel pulled someone over on his way home in an after-hours traffic stop. He said Janie Liggins swerved. He pulled her over. He asked if he could search her car. She had a glass of juice. He thought she had been drinking, but after he talked to her for about 15 minutes, he determined that Andy didn't find any alcohol on board. He let her go. She goes home. She tells her daughter. I think her daughter, I've always believed that her daughter is the one who pushed her to create the story and make the false allegations. So that results in her going and having a SANE test done. They did an oral wash. They found only Janie Liggins' DNA in her own mouth, none of Daniel's DNA. Just to give you some insight on what accusers later became a part of the case, Adaira Gardner and Kayla Lyles, who Daniel was accused of sexually assaulting in that shift. So Adaira Gardner at 9:30 p.m. and then Kayla Lyles at, I think, 1:50 p.m., right before he clocked out. And then by 2:02, he's supposedly assaulting Janie Liggins for making her give him a 10-second blowjob. Anyway, the oral wash comes back negative. By the time it comes back, Liggins has already gone to the press, and she has done a story in Silhouette accusing this police officer, which they didn't name his name in that first story. And so shit is going to hit the fan in Oklahoma City because they can't charge him for Liggins because nothing that she said yielded any evidence. You know, she says that he made her put his penis in her mouth. His skin cells are not in her mouth. She says that he made her place her hands on the car in a specific location, and also that while he was receiving the blowjob, he placed his hands on the car in a specific location. Neither of those things checked out. So everything that she said didn't check out, and they weren't going to be able to charge him. She had gone to the press. Shit was going to hit the fan. So they get this bright idea that they'll link Terry Morris, who on May 24th, not quite a month before this all happened, when her boyfriend ex-boyfriend calls 911 on her because he's destroying her car and won't get out of destroying his car, won't get out of his car. And she decides, I don't know if to get out of trouble or if she truly was assaulted by an officer previously, which she claimed happened May 20th or 21st, just a couple days before this 911 call. They've interviewed her by the time Daniel pulls Janie Liggins over. And in fact, she has already signed a decline to prosecute form by the time the Liggins stop happens. But I think they just get this bright idea that if they make him into a serial rapist, then they'll be able to charge him. There won't be any upheaval in Oklahoma City. At the time, summer 2014, not quite 1 year before, we have George Zimmerman in Florida being acquitted of the charges of shooting Trayvon Martin. We have all these other things happening all around the country that are involving white police officers, violence on Black citizens by white police officers. And I think, frankly, Oklahoma City just didn't want their city destroyed, because before Daniel gets arrested, right before Daniel gets arrested, we have Ferguson, Missouri, and Michael Brown. And they didn't hesitate getting him into custody before shit hit the fan in Oklahoma City. And the rest of it was just a list created because now he's a serial rapist. I mean, they couldn't get Terry Morris to come along until she mysteriously got arrested. And if you go to Brian Bates' podcast and listen to her episodes and her interviews, you will hear her interviews saying no, telling the same story several times. And then once she's in jail, you hear what is obviously the second half of an interview. The first half, obviously not recorded. You can hear her in the background talking to Lieutenant Musney. Rocky Gregory steps away, sets up the recording, and then tells her, tell me the story. Oh, just what I told you. Well, no, I need you to tell me again. I'm trying to get it. So obviously they've gone over the story, this new story that she's going to tell, that's going to match May 8th, not May 20th or 21st, but May 8th, when Daniel had an interaction with her and called her in and has a documented AVL GPS record around that stop that they can create an allegation with. The rest of the people, it was just piling on from a list that Musney created, women that Daniel had pulled over who were Black, had a criminal history, prostitution, drugs. And they say all these women had the same thing, the same background. Yeah. Why did they have all the same thing? Because that's the only women that these detectives sought out. And I mean sought out by going and trying to locate them through family members and telling these family members what they think this officer did to their daughter or their girlfriend or whoever. So they have the story before they even have an encounter with police officers. I'm pissed right now. Anyway, so one by one, there were 13.
Yep.
And there were a couple who came forward on their own after they saw it on the news. Kayla Lyles was one, and she saw that, hey, she had skipped a probation meeting, and she saw it as her way to not have her probation revoked and get sent to prison. And that worked out for her. She became a part of the case that way. And then Shardarion Hill saw it on, she saw it on the news, and she recognized the officer as the officer who had arrested her for PCP and taken her to the emergency room when she swallowed a vial of PCP, trying to basically destroy the evidence. And he consequently had to sit with her while she was coming down. And, they talked that whole time. Daniel encouraged her to do better. She told Daniel that she was actually going to school, told him all this bullshit that was not true, but he believed it. And he encouraged her to do better. And he did some stupid shit. He friended her on Facebook. He called her, asked her how she was doing. The text messages show that it was nothing sexual ever. And of course, she says, Shardarion Hill says, she didn't save any of the ones that were sexual or whatever. And then, or he was real careful not to put anything sexual in the text messages. He saved that for the phone calls, which there were only a couple phone calls. But yeah, he did some stupid things that made it easy that were easy for the prosecution to make it look really nefarious. Anyway, that's my 10-minute cliff notes on 13 accusers.
Yeah. Well,
How'd I do?
you did great, much better than I can do, because I can't. I just start mixing stories up and say, well, but wait, I got to go back. You do much better.
Well, really, the only thing that's important is how they joined Terry Morris so that they could even have a case, because they should have never been able to proceed.
Right.
So really, Janie Liggins and Terry Morris are really the only two that matter.
Right. Well, and then I always, my theory or my idea is, so at whatever point they found female DNA on his pants, that's when they're like, oh, okay, let's figure this out. Well, they knew that those were the pants that he wore on that shift before, on June 17th. They knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the pants that they tested.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of, and I don't know how long it was, a matter of days, or maybe, I don't know how long it was. I think it was, I don't remember when it was.
Let me see if I can figure it out.
Yeah, well, I can't remember the exact time, or I might not even know the exact time when they discovered there was a mixture of DNA on the outside of his pants. But my idea is, okay, so those are the same pants that he wore on that shift. He's told you that. He's admitted that. He gave them to you willingly. So my idea is, so go back and look at the women on the 17th. Why do you have to go out and start canvassing the entire area that he patrolled and take the list that you've gotten from Lieutenant Musney, who created the demographics for these women? He's the one who came up with all the demographics for these accusers. And it frustrates me when I hear people say things like, oh, he only chose Black women who were drug addicts. And, that really infuriates me, because he didn't choose anyone, number one. Number two, the area that he patrolled regularly, that was his patrol area, assigned patrol area, was, that's what they were.
It's predominantly Black.
Thank
it
you.
is a predominantly Black neighborhood.
Right. So those are going to be the higher percentage of the demographics are going to be those ladies, those women, those people. And so he makes this list, and they keep saying, and I can't remember, in different police reports that I see of Kim Davis's, that they went back 6 months, and that's not true. It was more like 14 or 16 months they went back, trying to looking for the women that fit those demographics, and they're going to interview every single one of them. It's not about just getting the person whose DNA they think they have on the front of the pants. No, they want to make every single one of the women, of the Black women that he had legitimate contact with, a victim. And if they could have done that, if they had never found Adaira Gardner when they finally did, I think that's exactly what they would have done. They would have just kept going and kept going and kept going. But
an interesting. Go ahead.
To me, just go back. Just go back the night of that shift, and look at those women. If you're trying to match a DNA sample on the pants that he wore on that shift, you don't need to do all of that. You just go back and you look at all the women who he had made legitimate contact with on the 17th.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, interestingly enough, so they don't have any evidence to charge him for Janie Liggins, which he ends up being found guilty on all counts on her at trial, which just blows my mind because they had nothing. Everything was exculpatory for him. And then they used Terry Morris to tie the case together and make it a serial rape case so that they could pile on people. He was acquitted on all of her charges. So she makes her allegations May 24th, 2014. She's interviewed twice before Daniel is accused of the Janie Liggins allegations. And she won't change her story. She declines to prosecute. Liggins happens on June 18th, 2014. And then they're just scurrying. They are just scurrying to get Morris to change her allegations. She gets arrested, what was it, July 3rd or 4th? I think she was in jail a week before they went and interviewed her on the 10th, and she changed her story and accused Daniel. So July 10th, she changed her allegations and accuses Daniel. Janie Liggins' SANE kit. Let's see. Okay, the first news coverage. So when I said Janie Liggins did an interview in Silhouette, that was on June 23rd. So what is the math on that from the 18th to the 23rd? And they said they did that interview because they were afraid that Oklahoma City was going to sweep it up under the rug.
It had been 4 days.
And so then 2 days later, the SANE kit comes back negative. Her oral wash swab, external mouth swab were both negative. Only Liggins' DNA was found in and around her own mouth. Then on the 25th, also, the DNA from an unknown female. So the full profile of Adaira Gardner, she's the unknown female. And then it's a mixture of two other people. And they didn't identify. The crime lab analysts said there was no male DNA in the mix, which there was. So here we go again with Oklahoma City crime lab or DNA lab analysts either fudging on the report or just being so totally inept at their job that they can't produce true results. There is male DNA in the mixture. Didn't know that until after trial. And then they just start piling on.
Right. Thank you, Shaz. That's good to point out. I appreciate you pointing that out. I also believe it had, and I think Kay also believes it had to do with BLM. TJ, what comment? I don't understand that comment. When you have one victim, she believed, but more she didn't. No, I put it up on. It's in two separate parts. Catnet had put that quote in the chat, and I put it on the screen.
Is that Kim Davis's quote?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kim Davis in an interview says, well, when you have one victim and the narrative and the verbiage is all the same, you don't always get things done. But when you have 13, then you get things done. Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So basically exposing herself that we have to pile on all these cases so he doesn't have a chance in hell. because
Right.
people are going to say exactly what the question was that got me going on this. Why so many women?
Yeah.
13 women wouldn't lie. What are all the things we hear all the time?
Yeah. How
You
could
know?
you get 13 women to lie? How
Or
do
to all
13
tell the
women
same story,
tell the same story? And,
which they don't. But
you know, and why would they lie? The questions just astound me. Like, I can't believe that people really think that way. So,
well,
but they
why
do.
would they lie though? You know, there are so many different reasons they might lie.
Yeah.
Get out of trouble. They're being coerced.
Well, and even Kim and Rocky say that in their interview with Michelle Malkin, that they did. What was it? 5 years, 4 years later, 3 years later. I think it was 2019. A few years later, I can't remember, but it was a few years after the conviction. They sat down and did a 2.5 hour interview with Michelle Malkin, and they said, because Michelle Malkin asked them, you know, why would people lie? Why would these ladies lie? And or do people lie? I can't remember exactly what the question was. I'm
Pete, no,
betting that
I think she just said people lie.
people lie. Oh yeah, they lie.
Oh, people
Oh
lie. What? Like, why do people
yeah,
lie? Money, get out of trouble.
money, get out of trouble, 15 minutes of fame. They name off all sorts of reasons, except for in their case that they're investigating. None of them are lying. Come the fuck on, please.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just that though, Rhonda. It was the timing of it as well. I mean, that Daniel's case is political in a sense as well, because you had all the riots and everything like that going on because of the Black Lives Matter
Well, not. I
situation.
mean, we're saying this like Black Lives Matter. The original idea is a terrible thing. I mean, Black Lives Matter. They were doing the thing they were doing. I thought justifiably until Daniel's case came along. And then
Yeah,
it was like they
Yeah,
didn't look at any facts, or all they looked at was the police
it's-
narrative. So
yeah.
I hate
yeah.
I hate to sound like I'm always slamming Black Lives Matter. Anyway, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, it's fine, Kate. No, it's absolutely fine. No, but that's just it. I'm no slamming the Black Lives Matter movement, because being an outsider and looking into your country, no matter what state it is, that is what I see as black persons of color, women, men being shot and killed by
Mm-hmm.
police, unarmed,
Mm-hmm.
or at a traffic stop, or I mean, the other night there, it was one man running away for his house. The police
Mm-hmm.
came to his door. He jumped over his balcony. They chased him, and then they shot him. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all I see. So I completely understand why this movement occurred, and why they still, because they do deserve justice, no matter what it was. Because if that was a white person that happened to, it would be on every channel. It would be
Mm-hmm.
on the news over here. It would be everywhere. Everybody would be up in uproar. You know what I mean? So I do agree with the movement. But what I don't agree with is these cops who manipulated the system and went back looking for these women of colour because of the times. Because are you trying to tell me that there was no women that Daniel pulled over in that length of time that these 13 accusers are coming and saying that this happened to them, that he didn't pull over a white woman?
Yeah, I mean, he
You
did, obviously.
Yeah, of course he did. Of course he did, Kate. But these cops, because of the time and everything like that, and because of what was happening with the Black Lives Movement and everything like that, at that precise point in time, they constructed a narrative, and then the court's done exactly the same, because I think the jury in that was under pressure to convict Daniel, because
Mm-hmm.
these people were standing screaming outside the court that he needs to be convicted and that they were going to riot and everything like that. So to me, that was a political decision, not an evidence decision, not a facts decision. You know, the jury was maybe terrified about what would happen to them
Right.
if they came back with a non-guilty verdict.
That's
You
right.
know,
When
so
did the Me Too movement start? Does anyone know that? Because that started relatively around the same time. So, what you to your
2016.
point? Okay, to your
2016.
so right after his sentence, I guess.
yeah. But I mean, this thing we believe all women. I mean, and that's what started the Me Too movement. You know, yeah, we are supposed to believe women, but what you've got to realize as well is that women can be conniving bitches, and they can say things just to get men in trouble. And what is the word? I mean, if it's a parents who are falling out and are getting divorced or just separating or whatever, what happens? The kids get used as ammunition. Oh, well, you're not seeing your children. You know, if you don't give me this or give me that, then you're not seeing your children. You know, and they get used as a weapon. Well, I'm sorry to say, and people out there might not like it, but there is women out there that do exactly the same thing and accuse men of doing things that they haven't done. And the worst thing that they say is that they were assaulted. And the person that they accuse of that assault is the one that has got to work 600 times more to prove their innocence than the person who said it. I mean, there is a lassie here in the UK who's actually been sentenced. I think it's something like a 10-month sentence or a year's sentence or something like that. But she has actually been sentenced because she was accusing men of assaulting her when it never happened. So it does happen. Women do lie, especially if they're caught in a situation that they feel that they can't get out of. What's the first thing they say? Oh, well, he hit me. He assaulted me. He raped me. You know what I mean? He sexually assaulted me, whether it was oral or whatever. You know, I was assaulted and he done it. And it happens. It does happen. So for people to be out there saying the questions of, well, why would they lie? Because women can be conniving bitches. That's why. And I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't think it's anybody else on the panel's opinion or whatever, but this is my opinion. I know, because I know somebody that it's happened to who has been accused of something and it never happened, you know. So it does happen. So these people that keep coming out and saying, oh, well, why would they lie? Because they can and they do. It's as simple as that.
Money. Money, money, money.
Sometimes it's money, Jack, yeah, but sometimes it's because they know that that is the worst thing that a woman can
Revenge.
accuse a man
To
of.
destroy a man. Yeah.
To
Revenge.
destroy a
Yep.
man. Yep.
Yep.
And it's the man who is being accused who has to fight and fight and fight to try and prove his innocence. No,
Just
the
think
person
about
who
just think
survived.
about Johnny. Just think about Johnny.
Exactly, Jack. You know, exactly.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I completely agree. Thanks for getting those dates, Kay. I appreciate it. I can never remember when Ferguson.
You know, and there were waves at Ferguson too that were, because they had several riots. I can't put my. Let me see if I can find that while you're talking about something else.
Yeah. Well, I just yeah, I mean, I completely agree. It's and I feel God, this is going to get me in trouble, but I don't really care because I don't care. I'm just going to say what I think because that's who I am. But I think that the Me Too movement, as much as it was intended to be helpful to women who had been assaulted, it turned into something different. And just like, in my opinion, the Black Lives Matters movement, and not in all places is this the case, I feel like, but the Black Lives Matter movement was intended for a legitimate, good purpose, but in some areas, some places, some cultures, I don't know, it's used differently and causes more damage than it does help. And that's the fault of those that are using it as a shield, in my opinion. But I feel like
I'm sorry. I thought you were done. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Just to be more precise, to answer Kay's question, the actual Me Too phrase started in 2006 by a woman. And then it really kind of died. And then 10 years later is really when it took off.
And that was more right before Harvey Weinstein, right? Is that kind of what set that off? Or
was it Weinstein or Epstein?
Hold on. I'll tell you.
It was Harvey Weinstein, but I could be mistaken. I mean, Alyssa Milano was in there early on too, as I recall.
She was, yeah. It says fast forward 10 years later, and the phrase has been reignited as a slogan for an anti-sexual harassment movement, the movement that has rocked some of the most powerful men in the entertainment and politics, a movement whose timeline continues to rapidly build. So, let's see if it gets specific here.
Yeah, it was due to the Weinstein situation, because it was Rose McGowan who came forward to begin with, and told her story about what happened, and then other actresses and that came forward and told the exact same story, because they lost their careers. I mean, Rose McGowan was on screen doing different things for a while, and then she just disappeared.
Ashley Judd in 2017.
Yeah, Ashley Judd. She was about a lot as well in films and everything like that, and then she just disappeared. And to me, that was all to do with Weinstein putting the word out that these women were bad, and they weren't reliable, or whatever it was that he said. I mean, this is only speculation on my part, but in my opinion, he's put out the word to try and destroy these women's careers because they've threatened to come forward. And then they finally got the courage, and they finally came forward, and they finally got believed, and then the ball just rolled for there, and the more and more actresses and things like that came forward, was how the Me Too movement started. And I think it was Rose McGowan that started it off.
Well, it doesn't list Rose, but you're right. She was in there, Alyssa Milano. And then the really big one, and this hits really close to home for me because this happened, basically 90 miles from where I live. And that's gymnast Michaela Maroney, when she revealed about this, Dr. Lawrence Nasser, who assaulted all those gymnasts. It was hundreds and hundreds. That guy. They had to hide that guy, or he would have been drawn and quartered, brought back to life, and over. Kevin Spacey. Yeah, Spacey, and then there's some political people in here.
While all that was going on, it was brutal to be a Holtzclaw supporter back in that time, right after his conviction.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It was brutal.
You couldn't win. You couldn't win for any.
I had death threats, and
I can only imagine.
oh my God, it was like, it was
Yeah.
crazy, man. It's nice that it's come halfway
Yeah,
back
but
around now, where
yeah,
people,
Well,
but I mean,
I
the good
I
thing
think it.
though,
I think that what Rhonda was saying, and maybe all of you ladies are saying, I think the pendulum in many instances it swung too far, and it was done out of revenge, right? Piling on. And I remember, and I'm not nearly as familiar with the Holtzclaw cases as I am with the Avery Dassett cases, but I remember hearing recordings. I think it was probably on one of Brian's podcast. You could, or maybe it was Michelle Malkin's thing. You could hear them, these protesters, outside the courtroom during trial.
that was
You
Malkin's.
you could hear them. It's like, what? You got to get them away from the jury. It's wrong. How could someone possibly get, even under those circumstances? You can't get a fair trial. Those jurists had to be afraid.
And the
They had to be.
judge only advised the jury to disregard those chants that they were hearing in the
Yeah, right.
courtroom. Disregard those. Do not.
That's easy for him to say.
36
While he-
counts, give him life. 36 counts, give him life. Racist
Yeah,
cop.
While he's sexually assaulting, 3 or 4 prosecutors at the same time.
Exactly. Well,
How can you?
or having consensual sex with them, whatever the case may be, because
Whatever the case
he
may-
didn't
right,
get charged.
That's right. But
The grand jury that operates in the with a cloak of darkness said that it was consensual. So we're left to just trust the honest grand jury, which used to be run by Henderson himself.
But to me, that's, for a judge to have any kind of relations with, if it's a prosecutor that's from another district or county that would never appear in front of them, okay. But otherwise, it to me, it's like a supervisor having relations with somebody that's he's their boss. It can't happen.
Well, but it's interesting, Jack, because, the governor ordered the OSBI to investigate it because of conflict of interest. And then all of a sudden, here we are with the grand jury investigating it. Whatever happened that I missed, I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I think all of these little different movements that we've been talking about have their place, but I also feel like they have their place in cases like Daniel's, where it's used against them, and in Daniel's case for no reason other than to protect what I believe they were protecting, which was their city. I wanted to address a question that Sharon had. I don't know if I can find it. But she said something about the clothes. Oh, why didn't they grab his clothes the day they got a complaint from one of the, because they didn't get any complaints from a woman against Daniel. The first complaint against Daniel,
they did. I mean, why didn't they grab his clothes anyway? I mean, he offered up all of his clothes. They made him into a serial rapist right away before they interviewed him. So that's a good question. Why didn't they grab his clothes?
That is a good question.
Remember? I mean, wasn't he a
because
serial rapist in the interview?
Because nobody had said anything about Daniel until June 18th, when Janie Liggins made her false claim. That's the first time a woman had ever pinpointed.
Is that not what she's asking about? Why didn't they grab his clothes?
They did. Yeah.
No, they grabbed the pants he was
The
wearing.
pants. Well,
He
yeah, that's
offered that, hey,
he,
you can have my phone, you can come
everything.
to my
Yeah.
apartment, you can. They didn't go. His underwear are in the wash, which means in the washing machine, not washed yet. They talk about wet underwear at trial. That was never talked about. You know how
Yeah.
bachelors use the washing machine as a laundry hamper and wash everything all together in one load? That was that.
Right.
They
Yeah.
didn't go get anything because why? They didn't want anything that would be exculpatory. They didn't do anything that might
I
be exculpatory for
yeah. I
Daniel
apologize.
Holtzclaw.
I misunderstood the what she was asking. I was just thinking of uh prior to that, and I was only thinking of just the pants
Oh, so
at
I
that.
didn't mean to chop your head off.
Oh, it's all right. It's okay. Yeah, I just misunderstood what she was asking, I think. Um but anyway, yeah.
I mean, she was asking about his clothes, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I just thought that she was thinking that the accusers had come, people had complained, women had complained about him before June 18th, and why didn't they grab his clothes then? That's what I thought she was saying. So we're just going to talk about Sharon like she's not in the chat. So anyway, but yeah, so it's this has been a great discussion, and one that we don't really get into very often because we're usually pretty focused on a particular thing. But this has been really good to hash some of these things out and bring out some just specifics of the case, and not necessarily of one person. But kind of to bring that back around, that we will definitely be doing. They didn't. So let's just fix this for my sake. So they didn't. The only clothes that they took from Daniel, Sharon, was his uniform pants and his belt that he was wearing on June 18th, and they happened to be the same pants that had worn on June 17th. So
And,
they took,
and he had worn those pants, I think, 3 days actually.
so possibly 3 days. Yeah. And so they did take those right after the interrogation on June 18th. And at that point, the only person who had made a complaint was Janie Liggins, who named Daniel. So,
But they questioned him about Terry Morris in his
right.
2-hour interview on the 18th when he reported for his shift that next, day. He worked the overnight shift. So
Yeah.
if you're confused about 17, 18, and then him being back in for 18, 19.
Yeah. So this has been like I said, a great discussion. Is what we want to do, what we want to have. We want to have conversations about it, and bring up some of these things, especially things that that are so misunderstood, or so mis talked about, or misquoted, or whatever, out in the world. So yeah, they could have gone to his house, and
they gave him a ride home. So
Yeah,
they were at his house.
they
They
told
went
him-
and picked up some stuff like his long gun and a charger and
his
stuff.
radio charger and stuff like
I
that.
can't recall what else.
And he had told them, that they could take what they needed or wanted, but they didn't see the need, according to both of the detectives in Malkin's interview.
They did not want.
They didn't want anything that could be might turn out to be exculpatory.
Mm-mm.
So, but so we're gonna Adaira is the last of the accusers that we're going to cover in that way. In that way, I don't even know what that meant. In what way?
Now what?
what I mean to say is that at some point, and I don't know when, but at some point, we're going to finish covering Adair. It's probably going to be at least 2 more lives to get through her crazy story, and because we're definitely going to do one night, and I'll talk to Dr. Silkman and see if I can set it up for 2 weeks from tonight, because we're going to talk about the testimony from the crime lab analyst, who happened to be the mother-in-law of one of the detectives on Daniel's case, Rocky Gregory.
Is that Joyce?
No, Elaine Taylor.
Elaine Taylor. Yeah.
Joyce Gilchrist was dead and gone by then, but she passed on all of her bad habits to Elaine Taylor.
Yeah, she
I was
did
just
train
probably-
Elaine.
I was just going to say that. No, Jack, she's 2.0.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yep. Gilchrist 2.0. So, and if you don't know anything about Joyce Gilchrist, there are way back in the first year that I started doing these lives, we did one on Joyce Gilchrist, and then I think we did another one on Elaine Taylor. We had 2 separate ones. So if you're interested, you can go back and listen to those. They should be in a playlist. I'm not sure, but I think they're in a playlist. But what we'll do next week is we're going to start talking about the preliminary hearing, and we'll bring you some transcripts of that, and we'll do some reading, and so you guys can start seeing some of the factual things that went on in court, not just what was reported by the news or that people think they know, from what they've heard on the street or read on the
Or
internet.
what Kim Davis decided she would write down.
Yeah, exactly. Or what Kim Davis or Rocky Gregory wrote down. Exactly. So we're going to start that on Thursday next week. It's not going to be a premiere because it'll be too hard to do it in a premiere. Before we go, I just wanted to get any last comments from everyone on the panel. Jack, what you want to tell us about how much you just really adore Kim Davis? Because I know she's your favorite.
It's your favorite.
I'm telling you, she makes my blood boil. She's, I don't know, she's one of these people, it's like when I was talking about this recently, the first time I heard Ken Kratt's voice, my radar just went completely sideways. It broke. It's like, what? What is it? What? You hear this guy talk, and the way he talks, it's not only what he says, it's how he says it, and the inflections and all this story. And then, of course, it ends up being about him. Not really about the story. It's about me.
Yeah.
And I get that from Kim Davis directly.
Yeah.
She's got that narcissism kind of, because she says shit in these interviews. Pardon my French there. We've talked about this many times. It's gross, but she talks about how she does it. Like, isn't that how you do it? He's like, what the hell are you talking about? You're in an interview. Why are you saying stuff like this kind of crap? Anyway, I just have it. She is so unprofessional. I get these real moments of her problems with technology, except when she doesn't have a problem with technology, when something, she wants memorialized, suddenly it works. She's able to work a damn camera. But, there's just all kinds of issues. Again, with this cop, you can smell a bad cop when you have these issues surrounding a situation like this. So,
And
I
she's
just have
somehow able to get a recorder going real fast when she hears about the hot cop comment.
Yep, absolutely.
From her desk. Oh, all of a sudden you have the equipment? Okay.
That's right. And that just lays it out perfectly, Kay. That's exactly right.
Holy moly.
Yep.
Give me a goddamn break.
I did want to pass on, if it's okay, a little plug for the weekend for Foul Play. Is that okay?
Do
Of
it.
course.
So, I've talked to Doc a couple of times. He's just had a pretty crazy week this week. So there's not going to be a reading with the crew. It's just not going to be time to get things ready. So we're going to do a double open mic, and Saturday is going to be. We're going to go back and listen to some audio calls starting from the beginning and kind of follow a little trail, little path. Certainly, we can't get through too many, but we'll get through some. I think will be interesting for people to go back and re-listen to, and for some, it may be the first time they've heard some of these calls. So we're going to do that on Saturday to fill in that slot, and then Sunday back to depositions. And I can't remember who it is that we're starting with, but there's two more that we're going to do that's August 4th, 2005. So we'll do that on Sunday.
I think one is Jill Martens, but I'm not sure about the other one.
Jill Martins and I can't remember that guy's name. What I want to say Nazik, but that's not right.
No, because we read that one.
Kalanzik?
Who?
Is it Kalanzik, Alan?
It might be. It might be Kalanzik, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of them's I think one's relatively short and the other one's a little bit longer. So that's what we'll do on Sunday. Anyway, thanks everybody.
Thank you, Jack. Kay, what would you like to say?
Oh, I think I've said enough. Blappity blop blop.
No.
Thanks for all the questions, though. It was a good.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Really great questions, and open-mindedness is awesome. So we really appreciate it. Alice, I don't know how you feel about anything either. You're so hard to read.
And plus, you're muted.
And you're muted. Yeah. Do you have any final comments tonight?
Well, there's comments I'd like to make, but I'm not going to.
Okay.
I think I'll leave it at that. Just thank you to everyone in chat who's joined us, and yes, it is great to see people coming into the case, especially new people who don't really know much but are coming in with an open mind.
Yeah.
And asking questions. I mean, it's brilliant. I mean, the chat has been brilliant with the questions and everything like that we're getting, and we just want to keep it going. So please do the YouTubey things for Rhonda. Share it. Tell people about the channel. Tell them about Daniel's case, because the more people that know about it, that are open-minded, the better it will be, and the more people that will talk about it. So please like, share, subscribe, tell your pals, tell your family about Daniel's case, and spread that word, because it's amazing what the public can do sometimes just by speaking out and getting the information out there, getting the factual information out there, not the disinformation. I don't know how many channels I've watched on Daniel's case, Luke's case, Stephen and Brendan's case, and the amount that you can just tell that they're not really researching the case and gone into it because of the information that they're putting out. The things with us and Rhonda's channel and Foul Play and everything like that is we have paperwork and documents and family members that are actually in the throes of it to give us information. So please share the word, like, subscribe, and do all the YouTubey things for Rhonda. Thank you very much. And thanks for having me, Rhonda.
Oh, of course. Anytime, Alice, of course. And thank you so much for promoting. It's so awesome. I will say really quickly that I can't even remember now how many subscribers I had 3 months ago, but it was down around 348 or so. And today I think I think during the premiere, I hit 391. So I'm thrilled by that. And I just think that, being able to, be able to show a little bit of information, a little bit of, some of the transcript parts that we can get our hands on and things like that. I think that's been really helpful. So, and then just always having a great panel and having a great great group of people in the chat is really awesome. So I appreciate all of you truly, and especially to a great gigantic huge thank you to my YouTube manager. She's the best and most amazing person. So I would love to name my YouTube manager, but I'm trying not to put them on the spot. So if they are here and want to, raise their hand or, put a little grin or something, that's up to them to do. But I'm trying to be respectful of this person's privacy, so I won't. But having said that, Cherie, I would love to hear your final comments.
Well, I just agree with what you want to say. I agree with what you two just said about, I think, giving people or seeing what's in the documents and hearing their voices say these things, and then you see the differences. That it's a great thing to do to get the truth out. So, yay.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. And I couldn't have done it without everybody that's on the panel right now. Susan, the mods, new people that are coming in, and people that live or have lived in Oklahoma. TJ, having some insight from people who live in the area, just like in Wisconsin. It's always nice to hear viewpoints there as well. So okay, everybody in chat, thank you. It was a great premiere. It was a great live discussion, and I appreciate all of you for sticking around for all of it. It means a lot to me. And if that's everything from everybody on the panel and everybody in the chat, we're going to go ahead and say goodnight, and we'll be back next Thursday with something even more epic than tonight. So
Good night, John Boy.
yeah. So Cherie?
No, I was sorry. I didn't mean to.
Don't be sorry. Don't stop it. All right. So until next time, peace out, everybody.